Welcome back, everybody, to the Bling Bling Jam YouTube station. Today, I'm going to be interviewing no other than Joe Mock from upstate New York, part of the Balloon Brothers. And Joe is going to tell you, everybody, who he is, if you don't know, where he's from, how he started off in balloons, what his focus is on, and his balloon biz. And afterwards, we're going to talk about his classes and about Bling Bling Jam. But right now, this is all about Joe. So help me welcome Joe Mock to our call. There he is. Welcome, Joe.
Hello, hey Steve.
Hello, hello. Let YouTube know on the Bling Bling Jam YouTube station, like I said, who you are, where you live, what your balloon business is called, and how you got started in balloons. It's a mouthful.
Sure. Uh, as most of you know me, my name is Joe Mock. I'm from the Balloon Brothers, which is a duo, uh, two guys, real brothers. My brother Brad Mock, um, started out in the industry about 13 years ago, just on a whim. Brad was the one who initially started to learn how to do balloons. If anybody knows Brad, he's a big church guy. And one of his church events had a kind of like a block party in their area. So they hired some clowns and face painters and stuff like that. And the clown did simple one balloon animals. So at the event, there was a ton of people. And so the clown asked if anybody wanted to learn how to make a one balloon sword and a one balloon dog just to help the line keep moving. And if anybody knows my brother Brad, he's a super helpful guy. So he was the first one who jumped up and said, "Hey, I'll learn how to make a balloon." And that was the origin right there of the Balloon Brothers, because once he learned that, he came to visit me at my house, and as we're hanging out, he said, "Hey, check out this cool little new thing I learned." And he busted out some balloons, which I was very surprised about. We never were into balloons, or even I don't even think we've ever gotten a balloon animal in our entire lives as kids. So
Wow.
when he pulled it out, it was a big surprise. And then all of a sudden, he's making a one balloon sword and a one balloon dog, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Just you guys know how when you make balloons and people who don't make balloons see you do it, there's like a real awe and real wow factor when they see somebody make a balloon. And I had the same feeling, no different than anybody else. And so I said, "Hey, you want to teach me how to make a one balloon dog and a sword?" And so we spent the next couple hours that day just making some swords and dogs, and instantly fell in love with it. Thought it was really cool. So the next couple days, he would come over and visit, and we just kept messing around with the balloons. And I thought to myself, "Hey, this could be something that I could do on the side, opposed from my regular job,"
Hmm.
which Brad still works the same 9 to 5 job that he did when we started balloons.
Oh,
Brad,
okay.
he's the head of a wood shop. He's a carpenter, for people who don't know about Mr. Brad. And
Right.
so I worked on the opposite side of the building, which is it was a cardboard factory.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah, I operated the machinery on that side, and so it's a really boring job though. So balloons to me, I was like, this could be a fun way to make some side money. Like we have a lot of festivals and things around here in the summer, and we live like 10 minutes from Niagara Falls, so that's a really big tourist spot. And I was like, hey, this would be a fun way to make a few bucks, like get
Yeah.
for tips, really, because I never imagined like the wider world of balloons. I thought balloons were just a one balloon dog and a sword, or a one balloon monkey, or whatever you make. And so after like a week or two of just practicing and messing around, um, we got the smart idea to use Google and YouTube to see if there was anything more to balloons. And oh man, I can't even tell you the feeling of craziness when I started seeing all the artists and all the different styles of ballooning. Obviously, super intimidated, man, because here we are just making one balloon dogs and swords, and I see like a crazy array and levels of skill that had no conception was even possible with balloons. And I've always been a really artistic person. I used to paint, used to do graffiti. Um, for people who know, I used to make custom sneakers. I draw a lot. I teach my kids to draw and stuff. And I actually used to do music for a long time. Before I got into balloons, I might have even been. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm always embarrassed when I say it, but I used to rap a long time ago,
Oh
and was
wow.
actually a pretty unique and cool rapper. And if I didn't get into balloons, I would probably be a rapper right now, because I was a part of a large group of rappers in the Buffalo area. And believe it or not, a bunch of them are like super famous right now. Um, a couple of guys who were like some of my best friends, they were literally signed to Eminem for like 8 years. And
Wow.
three of the guys are actually managed by Jay-Z, and I'm not even joking.
Wow.
So it's weird. Like as soon as I got into balloons and I started getting good at it, uh, when you're a musician, nothing is set in stone, and it's always like kind of like there's no set path for you for your success. It's like like in any type of media, it's really hard to get successful and make money. So to me, music was a very hard thing to see myself making money from, like on
Hmm.
a stable basis. So when I found balloons, I thought it was the perfect thing for me to make money on a stable basis. Once I started getting really good at it, and yeah, once I got into balloons and saw on Google and YouTube uh, the style of stuff, I would try to pick up what I could. Back then, I couldn't really afford like tutorials or
Right.
lessons or anything like that. So it was really just a lot of grinding and messing around. And since I've always been my own, I'm kind of like a lone wolf with my creativity. I don't like to let people teach me how to do it. I like to do it on my own. So
Sure.
when I started, that's how I did it. I would just sit at home for hours. I'd go to Party City, grab a bag of 144 count, and then
Oh
random
yeah.
colors. And then after I would do a little bit of busking, like in front of the zoo at Niagara Falls, other places, save up a little here and there. And then from watching the people on Google and YouTube, I saw that they were using like blush colors and like browns and blacks, and they didn't sell those at Party City. So
Right.
that was one of my first like goals was to get fat. They used to call them I think fashion tones, um, for those
Hmm.
blushes and all those colors and grays because I
Hmm.
wanted to get the full array to try to make whatever I wanted. And
Hmm.
then yeah, it was just a process of like the first few months just grinding and testing out, learning what a pinch twist was or a sausage bubble, flower petal, and then pretty much just because like I said, I couldn't really afford tutorials or stuff like that, and back then YouTube tutorials were like very limited,
Right.
so there wasn't too many complex things. So I would just experiment. And there's a gentleman who lives in my area. He's been doing balloons for like almost 40 years.
Uh-huh.
And after like 6, 7 months of doing balloons, he called me up and he said, "Hey, I know you don't know who I am. But I just wanted to call you and let you know that I think that your work is phenomenal. Who are you? How long have you been doing balloons?" And when I told him, I'm sorry,
Oh, that's okay. He's taking
my
care of
son
his
is
kid a little bit.
my son is going crazy. And then after he learned that I was only doing balloons for like 6 or 7 months,
You can bring him in too
um,
if you want to.
here, you want
Not a
you want to say
problem.
hi, Linky?
As long as it's okay, he's on YouTube. Hey
Yeah.
everybody. Say hi to him.
So
He looks like
so
you.
so after the guy's name is Mr. No, and after he learned that I've only been doing balloons for a few months, he didn't believe me, and he was like, "We have to hang out and jam, and try to figure out some way to get me to do balloons."
Yeah.
Because he was like, "You're ready right now to start doing parties and stuff." And I honestly wasn't that confident um, until maybe about a year of doing balloons before I decided that. Because when I learned what balloon people charge, it's a decent amount of money
Yeah.
compared to a 9 to 5,
Yeah.
like hourly wage, like $15 an hour. It's pretty good if you do your
Yeah.
stuff right. So I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that what I was offering my customers that I was able to give them something quality before I started charging them that amount of money.
Right.
And yeah, I would say about a year into the business,
So a year
I
before you start making money.
well, yes, about a year of practicing and grinding, spending my own funds on my stock and
I
trying
bet.
to learn as much stuff as I can. And then I would say for a balloon person, I feel like it takes a couple years to build like your customer base
Sure.
and get a name locally for yourself because there was a couple balloon people. The guy, Mr. No, was probably like the most popular from doing it for so long. And then
Right.
you also don't want to encroach on anybody's territory when you're doing balloons.
Right.
So the first couple years, I would say, was like making a name
The
for
baby's, I'm shaking my head and he's shaking his head, I think.
the.
That's so
uh,
funny.
he's a good mimic, man. He's a good people person.
Yeah,
He's
I guess
ultra
I'm like this,
talented,
and he was doing the same thing. Yeah. That's great. So okay. And again, I might have asked you this before, Joe, last year, and again, it's okay because again, this is a new video on YouTube, and whoever, watches it, they watch it as we're talking 2025 now. But I don't remember either. So what was the first paid gig that you did? What kind of a event was it? Do you remember?
It was, yeah, I do actually. It was a
Yeah.
birthday party. Um, I live right on the Niagara River, so where my house is, I can literally see the Niagara River right out my front door.
Oh wow.
Um, and it's really really nice. So where I live is like a, I'm not going to say a tourist spot, but for local people, it's a really awesome hot spot during the summer to like bring your family, and
Oh wow.
they have there's like lots of restaurants along the river where I live. They're like there's like a hot dog hamburger restaurant. There's another place that does like barbecue, and it's actually all owned by the same family. So
Oh
when
nice.
I moved into my neighborhood right around the same time that I started doing balloons. And since I knew how to do balloons, I would go hang out by the restaurants at the river and just make balloons, for tips, whatever, just making balloons because I love to make them.
Sure.
And young lady took my info down and said, I would love to have you at my daughter's party. And I said, well, I'm still trying to work out the kinks of how I do an event. I don't know if I'm comfortable yet or if I'm ready to. And she was like, no, she's like, whatever you want to charge, I have to have you there. So I was like, okay.
Right.
She booked the event. It was at a camping ground type of thing, where people had like drove their trailers up to the
Right.
campgrounds.
Like a
And so there
KOA.
was a, yes, exactly.
Hmm.
So that's where the birthday party was. Um, really fun for a little girl. She was 8 years old. Her theme was butterflies. And around that time was when the time that Dave Bren, Dave Bren,
Hmm.
he was doing like those backpacks and he did the butterfly wings.
Yes.
So I think that was the first, I think, actual tutorial I ever bought was the backpacks. And just the thought process of that and how simple they were to create, that was like a huge thing for me to be able to go to a customer's place and give them something,
Yeah.
you know, super cool. And also to get your creative juices flowing because sometimes you just need someone to push you in a direction for you to start having your own ideas or like adding, you know what I mean? Or like
Yes.
putting more on something that already exists. And so, yeah, it was for a family. I can't remember the young girl's name because it's been so long, but I do remember that it was at their trailer for her eighth birthday party, butterfly theme. And I actually brought Brad with me to that party because I was so nervous and worried that not that I wouldn't do a good job, but I'd never done a birthday party. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to handle the kids in
Right.
a certain amount of time. And so I brought Brad, split the money with him. And if anybody knows my brother, he didn't even want any money. He just wanted to come do the balloon job with me. And once I did that job, I knew that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I pretty much quit my job like not too long after that. I just told them, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be working here anymore. Everybody thought I was crazy. Even my best friends thought I was crazy when I said I'm going to focus everything on balloons. And, time goes by and I'm not the type of person to say I told you so or anything, but
No,
everybody
I
now
know
is
you're
always
not. Right.
no, but everybody knows now that they know how dedicated I am to what I do
You
in
fell in love with
anything.
it.
Yeah, so it's nice to see people that I knew a while ago that were like not saying doubting me, but they couldn't see the vision, and then now when they see me working or something out and about, they're like, "Man, you've come so far! It's so insane." Love to hear it, and not only to hear that I'm doing a good job, but to know that people can see the love that I have for what I do, and that it shows through the work that I put out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
'Cause I
That's
do love it,
great.
literally.
What was that?
I said I do love it. Balloons are my life, and God, family, balloons, but balloons are
Right.
my life.
Right. Exactly. I agree with you. So, okay. So, I think we went to, I'm trying to remember. Did you have a focus outside the birthday parties? I know you do all kinds of events. Of course, we all do, whatever, whoever the phone rings. But have you had a different focus, like an area that you wanted to focus in? Because again, remember at Bling Bling Jam, it's not just about about the concepts we do. Those are great, but we also want people to make money so they can afford to buy the balloons, pay their gas, go to a convention, that kind of thing, right? So we always want to share those kind of things. But I mean, I don't want you to do anything that you don't feel comfortable with. But is there any area that, and you might have not have, that you wanted to like kind of say, you know what? I love to learn the bar mitzvah market. I love to learn the stage show. I love to learn, and there might not be, but was there any area that you wanted to like or do outside of birthday parties? I know you do all kinds of events. I do know that.
I literally do all types of events. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I do lots of corporate events.
Yeah.
I do a few bar mitzvahs here and there. There's I mean, the Jewish community in this area, we have a decent sized Jewish community, um, but I think that a lot of the event times and stuff that they try to, like a lot of my customers book so far ahead that some holiday events or other things, like I used to do a bunch of Hanukkahs and stuff like that, and that's always around like Christmas time of the year.
Of
So
course.
after doing balloons for a while, a lot of customers would start booking things a year in advance for Christmas. And then when I would get calls for Hanukkah parties, they would always call me, not necessarily right before the event, but it was always later in the year
Sure.
towards that. And it's
Sure.
hard to lock that in unless you have it a year ahead. But
Sure.
my main thing that I try to do now is um, you're going to book an event. It doesn't matter what type of event it is, birthday, corporate event, town event. Um, you can go to like restaurants or stores, but my main thing that I try to do now is you're going to get the event. If you do good work and you have a good quality name in your area, in your market, they're going to book for the party or the corporate event. I'm trying to get people to add additional things
Upsell.
that
Yep.
yes, upsell things
Good.
like my selfie signs, or like I always bring a sculpture with me, but I offer a customer multiple options to where they could get something much grander
Exactly.
um, for an extra price to get a little bit of extra money. I just did an event literally yesterday that was an extremely far event for me to drive to,
Hmm.
so I told them that not only did they have to pay my fee for the party, but since it was so far away, I have to charge a travel fee. And
Right.
then after that, I said I'll I'll bring a sculpture for the birthday kid. I usually actually bring either one really nice sculpted piece that's like a masterpiece, or I bring a few smaller
Right.
um, ones in like a grab bag. But I gave them an option to do an upsell where they depending on the amount that they want to add extra to the bill, dictates the amount. I sent them a bunch of pictures of things that I have. Like I have like the butterfly wings that I was saying about Dave Bren. I have some designs that I do that are like really really insane, and they're like a perfect photo opportunity when the kid wears them. And then I have decor pieces like table pieces that I also
Right.
try to upsell them so that
Perfect.
you can make an extra depending on what type of event it is. If it's a small event, you can get an extra, 50 to 100. If it's a corporate event, you can get a few $100s by offering those types of things.
So those are all
Um,
twisting pieces, or is it deco twisting?
it's deco twisting.
Perfect.
So
That's where everything's at. Yep.
yes, that's where it's at. I work with the decor company, um, moonlighting
Yeah.
sometimes. I don't know if you know who Marlene and Chris Potts are.
I know of her. I've spoken to her before, so I know who she is. I never met her, but
Yeah,
yes.
they're really cool people,
Yes,
and they
yes.
own a very, very, very successful decor
Yes.
company. Very successful.
Hmm.
But they don't have any twisters at their shop. So we met a few years ago by chance, and they knew who
Yeah.
I was, and they said, "Hey, if you ever thought about doing some decor or adding a lot of twisted elements to it," and
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, let's collaborate." and I actually do stuff for them all the time. They have something that they have an idea for. There's a lot of sports teams here, and just recently there's a Buffalo like AAA baseball team called the Buffalo Bisons, and
Uh-huh.
so they called me and said, "Hey, could you make a mascot? Would you be able to make like a life size?" His name is Buster. So they were like, "Hey, can you make a life size Buster?" And I said, "Yeah, give me a few hours." I was with my kids, but I was like, "Let me get some time. I'll sketch something out, throw back ideas back and forth," and ended up making the Buster. And then all of a sudden, after that event, we literally did like 5 or 6 more for different local teams because they saw that Buster and they were like, "Hey, you have to do this one for the University of Buffalo. You have to do this one for Niagara University." So I've been doing a bunch of those life size mascots, and it's a cool photo opportunity. It's like a 7 foot
Oh, sure.
uh, sculpted piece. Looks like the mascot of the school. It's just big enough for people to stand next to it, and I keep his arm out so that the 1 or 2 or 3 people can go in there and they get a nice photo. It's just something good to get your name out there.
Right.
Like for Chris and Marlene, that's the more upsell for their customer. They have the decor.
It's a
Now
win-win for
they
both of you.
win-win for everybody. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's how it should be with decor and Twister people. There shouldn't be such a separation.
Right.
There should be more collaboration and seeing
Yes.
what we can do to help each
We
other.
just spoke about this on Kathleen's interview, so about deco twisting and how it really is the full-fledged and what we talk about a Bling Bling Jam. We've always been a deco twisting convention, but that's where the industry's at, where everything is for your clients, and it really is true. And we talked about your class, so we're gonna get into that in a minute. But yeah, that's great, Joe. What a great hookup that is at Marlene. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
So
they're good people.
yeah. So okay. So is there any other element on your business that you want to share, that an area meaning that you've conquered? I understand you've done events for this, or whatever it is, but any other area that you decided, hey, I want to kind of learn this market and really blow it up? And or is there one that let's say you wanted to take the bar mitzvah market, even though you do some here and there, like really like understand a little bit better and up your game and your price, and like say, I want to do something really, really cool, or it could be a trade show, or it could be, and maybe not, saying it, but is there anything like that? Or you're like, I hope I can learn this to take it to a different level. And maybe you're okay.
Um, I always like to do any type of event. Like I do trade show events. I do all types of events like that, but it's hard for like everybody sees value has a different meaning for every customer. You know what I mean? So what one customer sees, I do a trade show every year. It's a home and garden show, and they pay me to come attract people to their booth so that they can have their salespeople pitch while I'm doing the balloons. And other places that I try to pitch that idea to, they don't see the same value in it
Right,
as other
right,
places do. So I would love
right.
to do a bunch of because that trade show is actually one of my most lucrative gigs.
Yeah.
Um, I it's on very busy weekends in Buffalo, and eventually it got to a point where like I'm expected to be at the trade show now. I've been doing it for like 8 years there, and at
Wonderful.
this point, customers literally will come in there with their
Yeah.
families to specifically see the balloon
Yeah.
guy. So after a couple years and my business was growing, I got to the point where I had to tell the people who were booking me at the booth, this is what I have to take because when I first started and I was doing that, I would take a lower cut rate because of the amount of hours that they were booking. But as my popularity locally and my ability to book and fill weekends got better, it made less sense for me to go to the
Supply and
trade show.
demand. If you're too busy, that means you want to up your prices. If you're not busy enough, that
Yes.
means we're too expensive, right? So
So,
yeah.
so eventually it got to a point where I said, hey, you guys pretty much almost have to pay my full rate to keep me
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And
And you're worth it, right? So there you
so
go.
I guarantee
Absolutely.
everywhere I go, I'm giving you
Right.
awesome attitude, best showmanship,
Right.
best balloon creations.
And they're buying
Um,
you.
yes, they're buying the whole
They are.
package, not just the balloons, they're buying the whole experience.
Right.
Lincoln, sorry guys, hold on a
Oh,
second.
you're fine. Don't
Give her
you
a hand
love
'cause
Joe's cartoon? I love it. They were well, when you walked away, they were able to see it. There you go. They can see the whole cartoon. It's great.
that, that was one of the best things ever in business. I had an old logo that I
Yeah.
paid like $150 for, and it was a decent logo. Um, and then I found this gentleman who did the art for this, and it was only like $30
Oh, wow. Did a
for,
great job.
yeah, it was the most incredible pricing I've ever gotten on anything
It looks
in
great.
business.
It looks
And
great.
everybody always like, I got all branded like clothing now when I go to work and stuff like that. So I got
Exactly.
T-shirts and hoodies and sweatshirts, and everybody's all my tablecloths now have the logo, and all my clothing and
That's
my
good.
tablecloths have QR codes on them now. So as I'm
Very
working, they
nice.
can either scan my shirt or right on the table. Because I do a lot of events where there's so many people that I run out of cards very
Yeah,
fast. And yeah, it's a good thing to have your QR code for your stuff everywhere.
sure is. Sure is.
But yeah, the only thing that I've been trying to like really get into that it's hard to is doing deco twisting on a large scale. I've
Yeah.
done I've done a few projects with Chris and Marlene that are like really amazing projects, like really next level stuff. But to find a market for people who can afford that type of stuff, where I live, where everybody where they live has a different um,
Oh, for sure. And the thing is, and I know you have young kids and all that, so as they get older, you might be able to travel to do that out of the area where you live as well. So there's always that
yes.
aspect, you know what I'm saying? So
But
yeah,
locally where I live, there's not many people
sure.
who are, not that they can't afford it, but it's hard to convince someone
Right.
that spending
Right.
thousands and thousands of
Of
dollars on
course.
it.
Of
And so
course.
because the
Every area is different, Joe.
well, in my opinion, classic decor, it always makes an event look awesome.
Yeah.
But when you can create something that's deco twisting that
Yeah.
people have never seen before, that's a memory that gets burned into their head. Well, Chris and Marlene and I, uh, we had a client that their mascot for their college was a Saint Bernard, and so they said, "Can you make a giant Saint Bernard?" And so I said, "How big do you want it?" They said about 20 feet tall. So we ended up making the design, and it was much better than I had ever anticipated. And
Oh, nice.
it was really, it was such a huge hit that
Yeah.
they've booked at least one every year. But the year after that they had two dogs, and then the year after that they did three dogs. And when I say they're very expensive to make, so there
Yeah.
is a very nice way to, not only make some good money, but the impact that it had at the event from people seeing it. A 20-foot dog made out of balloons, and it wasn't a classic balloon dog; it was a full-on sculpture. And the second year that I did it, I did the one dog in a different position, and I even
Mhm.
had the bartenders put a keg in the barrel on his neck. So at the event, we stanchioned off the dog, and then they had a bartender tapping out of his keg and giving people drinks right out of the dog's barrel on his neck. And
Wow.
I think deco twisting is the future because you can create a once in a lifetime um, experience or interaction with a balloon that most people will never see in their life. And that's what I try to tell people is you're not selling them the balloon, you're selling them the memory of the balloon.
Yeah.
That's what you're really selling.
No, 100%, Joe. You're spot on with that. And I really do think, as your kid's going to grow in the area, you'll get right into that and be able to go to different areas and do well with that. So that's exciting. I'm excited to thank you for sharing that with us about
Yeah.
because that's great. It's great to know as we share, we all grow from that kind of thing as to what we want to do and focus on. And so many things happen when they're supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I always say. But that's awesome. That's awesome. Hello, hello. Doing good.
Right.
So, is there anything else you wanted to share about your balloon career, or anything else or we might have just covered it all, and then we'll go into bling bling at that point. But anything else that we might have missed that you want the viewers to know about Joe
The
Mo?
one thing that I would say I want people to know about more than anything is to jam by yourself. Um, Spend as much time as you can. I know it's really hard with families, and some people have a 9 to 5er that they do.
Right.
Um, Spend at least a couple hours a week just jamming with balloons. Don't make the same balloons that you make all the time. I'm teaching my son how to make balloons. And how I teach him how to make balloons is make your standard shapes, make just a random thing. A couple flower petals here, a couple pinch twists there, a couple sausage bubbles, and then look at the balloon from different angles. Because although you make something one way, sometimes you see something different when you look at it
Yeah.
backwards or upside down. Or if you can have other people around and ask them, what does this look like? Does this remind you of anything? What do you think of when I show you this? And then flip it. What do you think when I show you this? And that's how you generate more fire inside your creativity kettle. And I personally jam at least 5 hours every week. I'll take a few balloons just randomly. If I find myself walking around the house after I'm picking up or something, I'll grab a balloon or two, mess around, grab a round, try to, you know, do something different that I've never done before just to keep those creative juices flowing because
That's
it's
great.
super important. Because
Sure.
after you do balloons for a while, sometimes it can feel a little mundane doing the same things over and over. And it's really important to keep that fire and that love that you have for the balloons. And jamming is a great way to do that. My philosophy, do something different every time. You make a bird, do the beak different than you did it before. You did a
Yeah.
dog, do his ears different than you did before. Change one thing up at least every time you're doing it. And I guarantee you're going to come across something super good.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. I love that. All right. Well, let's talk about that was great. And thank you. And please you guys put comments for Joe and show him some love on here. He'll be watching this video when it comes out in premieres and years to come as well. But with that said, so we're back at the Bling Bling Jam, and I know you've come before as an attendee, and last year you taught, and this year you're teaching being sponsored by Ellie Tex, and we're excited about that. We just did Kathleen's interview, and we spoke about you and your deco twisting class with her, but let everybody know a little brief synopsis as to what you're teaching this year and why you're excited to come to Bling Bling Jam and obviously be sponsored by Ellie Tex. And then we'll talk about why you think people should come. I don't,
Sure, that's a
that was
great
that
question, a
was a
great
mouthful.
subject.
Let's talk about your classes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, your classes first about and then your sponsorship with Ellie Tex, but what you'll be teaching.
Okay.
Sure.
So first class I'm going to be doing is a. We were just talking a little while ago about upselling to your customers, and this class, the title of it is Chub Chub, and the reason why it's Chub Chub is basically a body design, where you can create a fun and easy way. In my opinion, sometimes creating a body on a sculpture can be very difficult. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to do the legs and the hands and get the proportions right on everything. So I found a really fun, easy way um, to use round balloons to eliminate like 90% of the process. And the cool part about it is I use these specific sculptures for an upsell because these are sculptures that you can make that are super simple and you can sell them as table centerpieces because the way that I make the body, they sit perfectly on a table. The
Yeah.
main reason I started it was not for that. I started it because let's say I would make like I don't know, just any type of sculpture, let's say like a Buzz Lightyear, and then you make it. And most of us know that balloon sculptures usually do not stand up on their own. So when you make a balloon, mom puts it on a table, it falls over because balloons don't stand up, and then it ends up popping. And then you're you're sitting there with a look on your face like I spent so much time making this.
Yeah.
So the idea came up with how can I eliminate having to worry about the balloon falling off a table or putting it somewhere where it'll just and because like I said, bodies are awkward to make. So this creates a way to make a character or animal or whatever you're doing and not have to worry about it falling over because the way that it's made, its own weight will be its own sustaining uh, place to set itself. And then once I did it a few times, I realized, oh, you could use these as centerpieces. And it's cool because it's scalable. And then you can make them even larger by swapping out sizes of balloons and then incorporate them into decor pieces. So you
Mhm.
could start out from just a small sculpture to a table piece to a big decor piece that goes with an organic arch that's themed with something. It all depends on what your specific type of event that you're doing is. and how much you want to upsell to your customer. So I'll offer that to my customer. I'll say, hey, would you like centerpieces for your Super Mario um, themed party? I can do a whole bunch of characters, one on each table, and they're so easy to make that you can make a bunch of them and charge a very nice amount for each of them, and that's on top of you twisting at the event or the decor that you made for the arch or whatever you made. You can add these cool little
Great.
specific themed pieces. It's a phenomenal piece. It's easy to do, and I gotta what I'm gonna do is not only teach the class, we'll do the class, we'll do a surprise that I have for the class in the class, and then during the week or that we're there,
Be jamming.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be jamming and doing
Yeah.
different versions of it to show people. One of my favorite things to do is whenever my family and I go out to dinner, there's a lot of like ethnic places. Like there's a bunch of Italian spots out here. Like the Buffalo, there's a lot of Italian spots in the Buffalo
Oh,
community.
nice.
So when we go to a spot like that, I'll make a chef themed over whatever food ethnicity we're going to do. Mexican spot, Italian, German. There's a lot of Polish over here. So
Right.
whatever themed food we're going to get, I'll make a version of that chef and then bring
Oh,
it
how
with
much
them. And
fun.
oh, it's the best because, like I said, it sits wherever you set it. So I don't have to worry about them finding a place where they put it up or keeping it away from the heat. I'll find a nice place on the counter or something, stop it right there, and it always generates a massive amount of buzz. It's a good way to break the ice with a restaurant. If you ever, like, let's say you wanted to pitch to do balloons, guaranteed the reaction off of that Chub Chub piece is going to be so positive that it's going to open them up to having you there. And like I said, I'm going to do a bunch of pieces at Bling just to show you guys the versatility and how you can easily. Um, it's so open ended that
Yeah.
you can be as simple or as complicated as you want with the piece. It all depends on what your customer wants to pay, how much time and stock you want to invest. That's the way I like to twist is keep it open ended because there's times where the customer may not have a lot of extra money or I may not have a lot of extra time to do something. Um, so I'll use that style to say, hey, instead of doing this complicated head, I'll do a really, really simple head. I'll use a round and draw on it instead of making a full on head. And it's really open ended. I'm super excited about it. Um, never taught it like how I'm teaching it now. And I know that everybody once they see the design that we do in class and the extra stuff, you're going to literally see them all week. And I'll
Great.
tell you what we'll do. I'll give a special surprise to somebody that comes up with the best Chub Chub during the week of Bling. I'll have Steve give it away during the raffle time.
Okay.
I'll let him know when we get to Bling. Whoever makes the best Chub Chub, I'll be
Chub
looking
chub.
at them all
Okay.
week. Yep. Whoever makes the best, I'll tell
And
Steve
that's
the
not to
winner
be
and I'll give
confused
him
with
the
chub
prize.
rub. We don't. Sorry, but if my friend Melanie, the one that the fashion designer I grew up with, that you'll see in Vegas, she's the one that taught me that name. I'm like, what is that? And anyway, she heard that. That's what she'll say. Sorry.
Oh man,
I know.
Steve, I
Sorry.
did not expect that. That was hilarious.
We're entertainers. We have to laugh.
That was the best, man. Now you're gonna confuse me, and I'm gonna go to a party and say, "Hey, do you want a chum rub?" And
No,
never have,
no, no.
never
Don't
be
say
able.
that. Don't say that.
I'll never be able to do a job again in the business, man. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, man.
Again, that was not set. That was like when you get a rash in a certain place. That's all I'm going to say.
It's gonna be a great class. I'm super
Yes.
excited. I When I filmed the video, my kids came home from school and saw the piece. And my son particularly was like really, 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 and trust me, he's one of my biggest critics. He was over the top, like
Oh,
that.
that's so cool. That's so
Oh,
cool.
he was like, "That's so awesome, man," which made me feel
I can't
phenomenal.
wait. That's great, Joe. Very excited. Awesome. Well, we're excited. So on a last note, why don't you let everybody know, if we still have a few weeks left, not much time, but if they haven't been to Bling Bling Jam, why you feel they should come, and maybe it's next year, the year after, it's okay too. But you've been several times and coming again in your own words. Love to hear it.
Sure. Those of know I've been bling multiple times. Love Bling. The reason why I love it is because they've got, first of all, a good captain and good staff. You can't have a good ship without a good captain and a good staff. They make sure everything is done properly and the right way. They make sure that you're getting the best content available, which is super important. I feel like when you're spending money as a person who's going to a convention, uh, that was always one of my biggest things. Is I feel like I got to get my money's worth. I got to get my creative juices flowing, and it's also a very welcoming convention. Um, Everybody's part of the family there. There's no cliquey environment or no playing favoritism with people and people being rude to each other. It's a really, really like almost like a family. But the reason I would suggest that you come to Bling Bling is to up your game. There's a lot of artists there who are showing a lot of different and new things, and it's a really good place to not only take the classes and learn some new designs and things, but to get to hang out with the really creative people in the industry. There's always a ton of super creative people, and like I said, it's a family type of environment where they'll let you come up and hang out with them and pick their brain and let them pick your brain. Bling is a There's not a lot of conventions like that, and I'm not disparaging anybody, but some places are not as open ended as Bling is. So it's super important to be that way because Bling is literally one of the places that helped me catapult my being a creator in the industry. Um, the first time I went to Bling, and I'm not trying to be a downer or be sad, but now Osaka was there. Um,
Hmm.
Rest in peace. He's literally one
Yes.
of the goats, the greatest of
He was
all
a good
time.
friend. Yeah.
Good man, good friend, and a beyond amazing artist. Like when you say someone's a good artist, like now was like 10 times better than that. And not only was he that, he was humble enough to be a friend and talk to you like a regular person. And now Osaka was literally, I remember at Bling, I won a bunch of things at Bling, and then now pulled me to the side and said, "You need to start." Literally, this is what he said. He said, "You need," and if anybody knew now, he didn't speak English. His English was not his first language. So
Right.
him running a whole conversation with you was
Took a minute.
crazy.
Yeah.
It took a minute. So
Yeah.
his whole gist of it was you have a very unique style that's very simple but has a lot of character. And he said you need to start writing your stuff down and sketching out what you're doing. And you also need to film what you're doing because he said, I think you have a very unique style that needs to be out there. And true story, this was right before COVID because this was Bling Bling
Yeah.
2019. He asked me what it would take for me to go out to Japan and teach a class with him in Japan. And I busted out laughing. I was like, dude, what the heck am I going to teach you guys out there in Japan, bro? Like, you guys are the best on the planet. There's no way I could teach you guys anything. And he said, your style is so simple that you create that visual appeal that a lot of the Japanese artists, they do really complicated weaving and techniques of balloons. And he said your style can create that vibe with a very minimal effort of weaving in that. So yeah, I will forever miss that guy. I will forever be sad that I can't see him again. And the only reason I ever got to get that experience was by going to Bling Bling Jam. So that's a lasting memory that I will never. I will
Yeah.
literally forget everything else in my life, but I'm telling you the truth. I remember exactly what I was wearing. I remember what he was wearing. I remember what the lighting was
I
like when he
believe
was
you.
talking to me
Yes.
because
Like it was
that's
yesterday.
like it was yesterday. And that bling allowed us to meet in that same venue and, like mess with each other's brains and pick each other's brains and work with each other. And that's the type of environment and memories that Bling creates for you. So if you want to have memories that last forever and meet people that'll become part of your life and part of your twisting brain, please come to Bling. I encourage you to come to Bling. You won't forget it. I promise you. I'll be there to help make sure that you have the best time ever. I give you my word.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Joe. It was amazing. It's so true. We have such a special bond with special people, as you all are special. And folks that are watching this, you're part of our family too. And we look forward to meet you in the future as well. But guys, Joe, amazing. Please give him a shout out on here. Great job. We're so looking forward to seeing your classes and seeing you in person at the Bling Bling Jam. Show them some love, everybody. Put some likes up, some comments. And again, this video will be up for years to come, but this is 2025, and we're looking forward to it. So with that said, everybody, thank you so much, Joe, for sharing with everybody. And guys, let's bling it on. See you guys soon in a few weeks. Over and out.
Bring it on.